Thank you. This group over here, why don't you move in the center? I want to build a relationship with you guys. You can't hide away from me. I'm going to ask all of you some questions. You know what's fun about speaking with a group of Hispanics? They all know how to pronounce my last name. And if you don't know how to pronounce it, how do you... L-L-O-P-I-S. Llopis. Little story. I promised my parents many, many years ago that I would always make sure that other people pronounced our last name properly. And how many times have you been around multiculturals or even Hispanics? And we always let people get away with how they pronounce our last names. You shouldn't. In fact, maybe you can use the same trick that I did. I decided to call Webster's Dictionary. And I spoke with a linguist. And I asked them this: what would my last name, how would it appear in the dictionary? And they gave me 5 different ways. And every time you get a business card of mine, it says Llopis, and right next to it is the phonetic pronunciation. You should feel extraordinarily proud of who you are and what you represent as a Hispanic. I personally feel a tremendous amount of responsibility and accountability to be with all of you today. And the folks over in Plano in New York, thank you very much. We're going to get very interactive. I'll be asking you guys questions, so please, I'll pause. I'll address your questions just as if you were here with us today as a family. But I'm proud to be Hispanic, and I come from Cuban immigrant roots. Both of my parents were born and raised in Cuba, and I was actually raised in a small rural town called Azusa, California. Very small little town in Southern California, where I truly believe that I cultivated my strategic aptitude by the way I took the time to integrate with the different Hispanic cultures and tried to find common ground. And I believe that that's what we all should be doing as Hispanics, is find a way to integrate with not only our own cultures, but also those that exist around us. The world is changing, and today more than ever before, we are starting to create a voice. I spoke with Carlos earlier today about how the event was, how many people are going to be here, and he talked about the evolution of how this year, more than last year, there's been more of an organized effort here at Adelante and PepsiCo to put on a really nice Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. And I can assure you that every year that follows, organizations are going to become more proactive in organizing events to celebrate our culture, because just from the sheer numbers, people are curious about us, and they should be. And during these economic and uncertain times, we actually are creating a greater voice for ourselves because people want to know more about who we are and what we represent. So there's one thing I will tell you, that as a Hispanic, I have been through a tremendous amount of mistaken identity. I've been through a tremendous amount of adversity. One of the things that I'd like to share with you is that I understand the world that you live in now here at PepsiCo. I myself have been in the food and beverage industry for 20 years. Probably didn't know that. I have experienced firsthand what it's like to be to be a Hispanic from line manager to executive. I understand the hurdles I went through, both in and outside of the workplace. So today we're going to be very interactive. I'm going to be asking you lots of questions. We're actually going to have 3 exercises that we're going to do today, and I hope you can share these exercises back in your homes with your families and your children and your friends, because we all have a lot of friends, don't we?